So we're about to get started. For those of you who are just joining us, we do have some mini marshmallows here, so come see us after the panel. We will give you a little treat. We won't tell you what the treat is in relation to this panel, or this game, or the universe as a whole. So, all right, so it is 9:30. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right.
All right.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Let's talk about Outer Wilds without actually talking about Outer Wilds.
It's more difficult than you think.
So, without further ado, we do need to switch kind of the tape deck here for a second. So we'll take this, we'll put it in here. Got it. Okay. All right. So, but first, this is a little bit about us. So, my name is Taffy.
I'm Mars.
And we are both from Maine, so we traveled a good 2-hour flight. Anyone here from Maine? I saw.
Yes.
Oh
Hello,
my
Mainer.
gosh, we're invading. The meese will be here soon. Landlibby chocolate mousse. So yeah, we'll go into kind of our experience with Outer Wilds later, but just for now, this is us, and this is who we are. So. Yeah. Okay. All right. So without further ado. Who hasn't played Outer Wilds yet? I love this part of the panel because you guys, this is why we made this panel. And then who has played? Woo! This is also why we've made the panel.
So many people are going to be in on the joke.
No, we will not elaborate why we chose this specific image.
Suffer.
Something you'll hear a lot during this panel is, if you know, you know. So, speaking of if you know, you know, yeah, so this is a thing. Again, no, I will not elaborate. Come see me for mini marshmallows at the front. Any marshmallow not eaten goes to my beautiful fiance back there. I love you. I
can't even talk about this because it's a spoiler. What is a spoiler for this game? My dear friends, it is everything. Which means it's incredibly difficult to talk about this game. Even kind of it being a game is kind of a spoiler.
So it got to a point that when we were thinking about submitting this panel to MAGFest, we were like, man, we're so excited. We have such a dream to host an hour-long panel talking about nothing. And then I got the email 2 months ago and I went, uh-oh. We have to talk about nothing for an hour. We're 2 minutes in and we're panicking.
You gotta beat that DLC.
So, what we plan on talking about with this panel is to convince you to play or revisit Outer Wilds while talking about a lot of the content of the game that we can't. So, basically the main goal is for those of you who raised their hands who didn't play Outer Wilds, we hope that this panel kind of gives you a good stepping stone of, I've heard so much about this game, or I've heard nothing about this game. I kind of want to give it a shot now. And for those of you who have played it, we also want you to go back to it with the love that we feel for this game, and maybe see some things that we brought up that you were like, oh, I never thought of it that way before.
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. So before we get into it, one of the things that we do want to say is we tried to find what is publicly available information for Outer Wilds. So some of these things that we talk about may seem like spoilers, but this is information literally on their Steam page, on their website.
The description of the game.
The description of the game. So if you guys feel like, hey, wait a minute, that definitely feels like a spoiler, they said it first. That's not an us problem. Email them directly. So what is Outer Wilds? So Outer Wilds is a 2019 action role-playing developed by Obsidian Entertainment. And one second, I'm not done. There's a whole. It's published by Private Division.
Evan, so that's the wrong game.
It's the.
Yes.
Whoa, hold on. That's the wrong one. That's the right.
Jesus.
Okay, all right. What is Outer Wilds?
So, what is Outer Wilds? So, you're the newest member of the Outer Wilds Ventures, which is a kind of fledgling space program that kind of starts off with this cute kind of cottagecore aesthetic and everything like that. But you're going out to search for all the answers in kind of this big, vast galaxy that the developers made, and it's really fun.
So some of the things with Outer Wilds is it's been described as kind of like a puzzle box that you have to sort through. The game does a really good job of not really telling you what your objective is. Most video games, you press in on the right stick and you see an arrow on the ground and you go, oh, awesome, I need to go this way and do whatever. Outer Wilds doesn't do that for you. We'll talk more about what they do. Yeah. But one of the things that Outer Wilds really wants to encourage is your own curiosity. So things like, and again, this is from the website itself, who built the ruins on the moon? What lurks in the heart of Dark Bramble?
What is a Dark Bramble?
What even is that? And you have to solve the mysteries to figure this out. One thing, I didn't check to see if we had sound, so if you'll excuse me.
Does not sound like we have sound.
It does not sound like we have sound.
No
That's
sound.
Okay, hold on. I love Windows because there's 15 different sound settings, and it can be headphones, gamers. I think we might have it.
No.
I heard.
Wait,
I heard.
I heard
list. Hold
thing.
on. Is that plus? I really hope we don't.
Plug your ears, just in case. Okay, we're getting there.
We'll call it good. Call it good.
We're not going to tempt the gods.
Or no gods. We're not going to say anything. So, who is Outer Wilds? So this is John Outer Wilds. so as Mars mentioned, you play as the hatchling. So that is kind of the name given to you because you are the freshest member of the Outer Wilds Ventures. So the Harthians as a race are a spacefaring adventurer of a genderless alien race. Let's go.
Woo!
All of the pronouns that are used within the village that you're in is they, them. So referring to yourself, referring to other people. So your name is Hatchling, and other explorers part of this group are Feldspar, Gossin, Slate, and Hornfells. There are other citizens within the kind of Harthian world, but play the game and find out.
Yeah.
Speaking of playing the game, we're now going to talk about the planet system. Again, publicly available information, no insider trading.
So there are 6 planets, kind of. And we're going to talk about each individual planet here, but we wanted to give you just an overview of the solar system really quick. What's very interesting about it is that you can see through this image just how different each location is, which as a, just as a game factor, it makes it fun to explore each region because it is a different place. It's not just like going to a different rock and it's like, wow, this rock is painted yellow, or wow, this one is green. So this is a neat way to see how much effort they put into it, but also just how diverse this little solar system really is.
And when it comes to the planets built within Outer Wilds, like I mentioned, the game itself is one giant puzzle box that you have to kind of decode. One of the things the developers talked about was designing each of the landscapes of these planets had to be so specific. There was one artist and programmer that was working on one of the planets, and they were like, oh, you wanted me to make a greenery system. Awesome. I've done greenery systems. Here you go. It's beautiful. They'll love it. It's eye-catching. And they go, up. It's eye-catching. It's going to bring the player in this direction, but this is literally just leaves. You need to make it boring. This part is exciting and eye-catching. Respectfully, we need you to just make leaves. So every part of this planet is crafted with love, crafted with care, and crafted not like the yellow paint in, what's that one parkour game? Mirror's Edge. Not like Mirror's Edge,
red, honey.
where red. Maybe this is
Still
where I
wakes
find
the
out that
deep is yellow.
Maybe it's where I find out I'm colorblind. But, Outer Wilds really wants you to look at something and go, why is that like that? As opposed to, why is that like that? And your answer is because an artist really loves greenery. So we're going to go through planet by planet, and we're going to kind of give you guys not a deep dive, but a general understanding of each planet. We have a common theme across all of these, and I want you to see if you can spot what that theme is, okay? So again, we've built a puzzle box within a puzzle box. Baby mode, all right? Unless you're really bad at puzzles.
Like me. So we're going to start off with the sun, which, you wouldn't think really is anything, because in most games, the sun is just kind of like either like a light source or it's just like a detail that you have. But in this game, it does actually function primarily as a death trap, but it does function, including having gravity that just pulls you in if you're not looking or too careful.
And the cool thing about Outer Wilds is that gravity plays such an important part within the system. Like we said, if you fly literally too close to the sun, gravity will pull you in. There is not a darn thing you can do about it once you're in that gravity well.
You will die to this thing, at least once. That's not a spoiler.
Now, with that, you can also use it as a slingshot as well. So with it being a good central location for everything, if there's a planet you want to go to and you're like, I can't be bothered to wait and, fly over there, you can use the sun as a gravitational slingshot to gain momentum and gain speed. So if... Dog, no way. We figured out sound and Discord goes off. I bet you it was just like, do you guys want to get food sometime? So that's the sun.
So the next one we're going to talk about are the Hourglass Twins. Have you caught on to the theme yet? So the Hourglass Twins are really unique in the sense that it is what's it called again? Like a binary something system?
Yeah, so they are tidal-locked planets.
That's what it was.
So kind of like the moon and the Earth, they're not moving rapidly closer or further away from each other. They're kind of just stuck in this, we're kind of this distance for a long, long time away from each other.
They were. That's what history will say. Now, what's really cool is that there are two planets that you have here, which are the Ash Twin and the Ember Twin. And you could probably guess which one is which by looking at it. One is covered in caves, and the other one is covered in sand. So, take a guess.
Timber Hearth. So speaking of redesigning the planets, so with Timber Hearth, this was the first planet that you start off on. And so when it came to designing it, they needed to make sure that, yes, you have other things you want to go to, but the initial planet also kind of starts rounding up that curiosity that makes you go, oh, this is kind of my tutorial at being curious, which sounds like such a weird phrase, but when you're playing Halo, your objective is to finish the chapter. That's not the same with this. The drive is you.
What's really cool is that, so this is something that we don't have a note for, but I do want to make a note too, is that how much it kind of relates to Earth in a sense. That one, it is your home planet in the game, and it's like, technically speaking, it is the third planet from the sun. And what is just unique is that for us in our galaxy and stuff like that, it is kind of a neat way to kind of centralize us in an area that we're probably pretty familiar with. What is also very cool is that the design inspiration for this game. So obviously you talked about how this place specifically gets redesigned 6 different times. The developers just kept kind of changing it, but a big part of it was also taking different inspiration from different national parks. A variety of the planets have different inspirations from national parks. Not everyone. Obviously, the sun doesn't. But, for this one, they had Yellowstone, they had Sequoia National Park, and they have Mount Rainier. And when you actually are on it, you can see that at kind of just as you're walking through.
And arguably, the face that you'd make while admiring that kind of looks something like this. seeing all of the plush greenery that they worked so hard on, but not too hard. And one of the really cool things about Timber Hearth is it also starts to introduce you to the different gravity levels of just planets as a whole, to the point that you can go to the center of the planet and you are not affected by gravity because you are in the center of the planet.
It serves as a great tutorial. Like
It's
and
such a
functional.
good one.
Yeah.
So the next planet that we're going to talk about is Attlerock.
Doesn't count.
Everybody loves Attlerock. Say it with me, guys. Exer.
No.
So
I hope he went back.
So the whole point of Attlerock is to kind of give you the first stepping stone to exploring space, with it being the first satellite moon of your home planet. The downside with it being so close to home, once you kind of get everything, you never see it again. And there's an NPC called Esker who voices concerns about being ignored. And then you spend the rest of the game ignoring him. So
It is really cool how, again, like reflecting back with us, like it is representative of kind of like our moon as well. And what's really interesting is that they talk about how like Attlerock is this area where the initial like space explorers had to stop at in order to like continue on with their journey, which is kind of like what we're doing right now. The idea of establishing like a base or something on the moon to like set off for like further expeditions is really cool. And they include this in the idea that like you have a new rocket, and that new rocket no longer needs to do that. And so there is kind of this neat like narrative of that and kind of like connection with us as well, but also just like, I don't know, poor Esker, you know? Yeah.
I mean, it's okay.
You're gonna forget about him by the
He's
time.
also a planet.
Yeah. I forgot about
So
that.
when we were doing research for Outer Wilds, we were just like, what are some other Outer Wilds planets, just in case we missed them? Esker is one of them. So he's listed right down here. And for whatever reason, Chert is also a planet, but only the rock version of Chert, not the character. Also, please don't pay attention to this. We won't talk about it.
Redacted.
But I'll just say, if you saw it and then you blinked, oops. Dirt. All right. So the next planet that we're going to talk about
My favorite planet.
is Brittle Hollow.
So, like we were talking about earlier, that every planet has, well, not every, but most planets have like an inspiration from different like national parks. This one has a kind of difference where it's actually inspired by Greenland and Iceland. I love the volcanic rock and the kind of mixture of like ice and rock as like a scenic texture. So as you're walking across it, you see this kind of like slate rock that's almost like volcanic in its nature, which makes a little sense for our next lovely planet that we're going to talk about. What's really cool about Brittle Hollow is that it's a much kind of like Timber Hearth, that there is things you can discover both outside and inside the planet. And it's kind of just a unique thing where not everything is just surface level, obviously, but also like in the sense that like every planet has a different function and a different play style, including this sense of like, you know, I think in a very cool volcanic like rock world is kind of unique.
Yeah. And as far as like square footage of planets, this one is one of the most dense. So along with that, hey, settle down. Dude, why do you think I put the gift that way? Settle down. So it does have the most square footage as far as like things to explore here. So if you are new to the game, this is a really good like first starting point for you. So just keep that in mind. The moon of Brittle Hollow. The moon of Brittle Hollow is Hollow Lantern.
Obviously we're trying to focus on the planets, but every planet does also have like other celestial objects. Obviously, like Attlerock with like the, Timber Hearth and Esker, and Hollow's Lantern, which is has this kind of fun function of orbiting the planet and occasionally, interacting with the planet in some fun and in interesting ways. It does things. But what's unique is that even like the planet itself still has other environments that you're exploring, which is kind of worth explaining too, because I think for a lot of us, moons are again just additional details to stuff. Because you might want to just go to Timber Hearth and completely ignore every other planet that you have there, but like the other objects that are orbiting these planets are worth like looking into, and obviously for this puzzle game can build into the puzzle as well.
Yep. So next up we have Giant Steep. Giant Steep has tornadoes. Hey guys, try spinning. That's a good idea.
Now, I don't know, they said that this place was inspired by Santa Cruz. I don't understand that in its like design or anything like that. Now this also fits in for, like, this is the game's gas giant. I'm fairly certain gas giants don't have whatever's going on here. But it is cool where like you do also have like, again, the difference of like the planets in the sense that like, you have like the timber like world, you have the rock world, you have the gas giant, you have like all these different environments that you have to interact with, and each one can also have its own challenges in like game mechanics in the sense of like even like
new challenges,
like gravity is a cool thing.
So next up we're going to talk about Dark Bramble,
and we're going to talk very little about this.
This is Dark Bramble. So the cool thing about Dark Bramble is that it has ice on it. When designing the ice for Dark Bramble, they had to make it look like Dark Bramble ice and not regular ice, because you will find things, I almost said words, you will find things and they will look like other things until you put the pieces together and go, wait a minute, those aren't things. Speaking of things...
But also from like a game design perspective, and they talk about this in like... Oh yeah, they talk about this in the like game design, is that like just because like there is an ice texture that is used on one planet, like they really wanted to define each location, even to the sense like the elements interact differently on each location, which I think is kind of cool and visually is a fun way to kind of keep track of it. This is the Interloper. This is the only thing that's not a planet. Well, maybe, that you get to explore in this game. It's also the only thing that has an elliptical orbit, so which becomes a factor in the game. Like, because it has an elliptical orbit, sometimes you have to plan ahead in order to go to some of these locations, which is another kind of fun factor of Outer Wilds, which is that you can't just hop to location. You can for the most part, but there are some locations that you kind of need to like dedicate your time to, and at that same time, things can happen on this in its elliptical orbit that might, change how you play and might change how you're doing like the game. So yeah.
So real talk, audio should be playing, and if I click this button, does it?
You missed.
No, I didn't. It's doing the thingy thing.
Is it?
Oh no.
Oh no.
The con Wi-Fi. All right, well, let's just imagine that we were all listening to a certain audio that happened to happen at 22 minutes. Just for some weird reason, music starts playing 22 minutes into the panel. Thanks, Gaylord Wi-Fi.
Thank you.
Hey guys, what are we all gaslighting ourselves to hearing that noise? Uh-oh, is the panel over already? Hey, what's happening?
Nothing.
Oops. Let's talk about Outer Wilds without actually talking about Outer Wilds. 1 second.
Okay.
My name is Taffy, and this is my co-host Mars, and we're gonna talk about Outer Wilds without...
Yeah, stop.
We're doing the introduction.
We've already done this. Look at the panel.
Yeah, no,
That's not my face.
that's totally not your face.
Yeah.
That's weird.
We're on slide 26.
Oh, is that because we're in a time loop?
Time loop.
Just to clarify, this is publicly available information. The trailer about the game features the time loop. So, if you haven't caught on, and again, I'm so sorry, Google Slides and the Wi-Fi has betrayed me. There is a song that plays within the game after every 22 minutes. We're not going to tell you why. Apparently, we're not going to tell you what the song is either.
Don't look it up. It is a spoiler.
Genuinely.
Like the name is. Please don't.
Yeah, if you haven't played the game yet, don't look up the audio for this game. Genuinely, that is a spoiler too. So, Outer Wilds features a time loop mechanic for it. Not necessarily like the time loop, but like literally it's the gameplay loop. So, I was so thrilled when I found this photo. So, with Outer Wilds, the idea of the game, it resets every 22 minutes. Some of you may be thinking, oh, that's just how the game works. And it's, okay, cool, 22 minutes. So it's literally because the universe itself is influencing other planets. So things rotate at a certain frequency. Things, who's familiar with the three-body problem when it comes to celestial objects? Imagine that in a video game. That's not going to work well. So for those of you who aren't familiar with it, there is no statistical way to predict where the rotation of three individual celestial bodies will rotate because the gravity influences themselves so much. With Outer Wilds, gravity is affecting everything within the game. For a game made a couple years ago, they really needed to be careful about resources. So they're like, 22 minutes, that's all we're going to give you. After that,
Now, what is cool is that, like, game mechanically, like, we have to understand too that, like, obviously, as they're designing these things, that they need to have a way to kind of bring you back. As a, like, playing a puzzle, you can get in, like, pretty, like, in depth into it. You can lose track of things. How many people have, like, come back to a save and you just have no idea where you are in your game? This kind of allows you to, like, bring the player back and give them kind of a moment to reflect. There's also mechanics within the game that help you kind of keep track of things, which is kind of nice. But it is very fun in the sense that, like, the time loop serves both a function both mechanically and narratively and all these other things, which is kind of a nice thing to see too. Like, you know, something's not just as arbitrary as, we're just going to set you back. So.
yeah. And it also comes down to, imagine if you are, using your puzzle analogy, that you're working on a puzzle. What is more engaging for you? Working on the same puzzle for 3 hours and kind of going into a flow state? Or every 20 minutes, somebody comes in the room, takes the puzzle and the puzzle pieces, says, close your eyes, hides the puzzle in one of your rooms, except one piece. And now you have to go not only find the puzzle, but find that one other piece. A little bit more engaging. It also gives you, the player, a chance to go, I've learned enough today. I've had enough college level, astrophysics here for now. So the thing with Outer Wilds is stuff happens. The game also needs to reset that stuff because otherwise you're kind of locked out of things. Again, it goes back to the puzzle box mechanic where you do need to be given that fresh point of view to go, what did this look like before? And this time loop gives you the chance to figure that out. So one of the things that's really unique about Outer Wilds is there's no superpowers, there's no upgrades. You get one thing and one thing alone. That's knowledge.
Knowledge.
Not a car on the house on the hills of Beverly Hills. Not my Lamborghini. Knowledge.
What's really cool is that for most games that we play, whether it be like Halo or like I'm playing Silksong right now, and like there are areas in the game that like you cannot access because you haven't gotten an upgrade, you haven't gotten a skill. And while mechanically the idea of searching for that can be fun, Outer Wilds does it like primarily that like fundamentally you can beat this game in 20 minutes if you really wanted to. If you know how to, you can beat this game. And it's very rare, I think, for games to be able to pull you as a player and to put you in a situation where like you aren't strong, you're not the smartest, you're not. I mean, again, you're gonna fly into the sun a couple of times. It happens, and I think it's very fun to have a game that allows you to kind of be weak in a sense, you know. Yeah, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah. So there's an amazing documentary that is available on YouTube that talks with the Outer
Watch
Wilds
after you beat in the
developers.
game.
Yeah, please do. It will spoil the game for you. And just like a general PSA, like we tailor-made this panel for new players to not talk about a lot of Outer Wilds. Don't go out there and go, I'm going to prove them wrong and I'm going to do more research. You genuinely will ruin the Outer Wilds experience for you. How many of you have played Outer Wilds and wish you could get brain damage to play it for the first time again? New players look around. We're not kidding. So, as Mars mentioned, you could stumble into the end of the game and not even realize it. The odds of that are next to none, but not zero.
Yeah, it's crazy that you could.
It's so lucky. But one of the things that makes Outer Wilds so special is the fact that you're given all the tools to beat the game the first moment you hit start game. So that's
one other thing that I just want to bring up too is how it's very rare again, like coming back to the idea of like vulnerability and stuff like that, that it's very rare for a game to do that. It's also rare in the sense that like I guess is a kind of a spoiler, but not really. But like the way that you can die in the game will affect how you wake up in your next loop, which is kind of an interesting thing where it's like this character is a simulated living thing, and you are putting it through pain by playing this game, which is kind of a crazy thing to think of, you know?
Have you all ever watched ReZero?
Trash.
Subaru does not wake up the same every time. So kind of that same idea where, yeah, okay, how you lived is also how you're going to wake up after the time loop. So another thing that we want to talk about is the ship. And again, there should be... Yes! Okay, is the audio playing, though?
I can barely hear it.
Well, you'll figure it out.
This is live footage of me right now?
So that was a perfect example of the ship's autopilot feature. So we are going to talk about the ship, for example. So this is one of the, I would probably say like a few tools that you are given within the game.
Yeah.
So you are given a ship. Inside of the ship, you are given a spacesuit. Please put it on. If you don't, experiment. So with the ship, this is, as Mars mentioned, this is one of the later iterations of the spaceship. You can actually visit other astronauts in the area and see their ships and see what they were working with. So one of the big things with this ship right here are the 4 directional thrusters. There are some on either side of the ship. There are some ships that don't have that. They have one that just says, go.
What's really cool, too, is that, kind of bring back the vulnerability thing, is that even in the ship, you are not safe. Obviously, we saw that in the sense of, like, you know, the sun there, but also, like, if you hit enough things, this thing will blow up. It's important to know that the cottage core is not just a cute aesthetic thing. This thing is held together by duct tape, so it will break apart.
Also, fun fact, there is a fuel gauge and an oxygen gauge on this ship. Please pay attention to it.
I forgot about it.
I didn't, and I died moments before figuring out a big part of the game. So let my death be your savior.
So we talked about that documentary already, and in that, the developers talk about how there is a like model rocket that you can play with on Timberhearth. And what's so fun about it is that when you first use this thing, it's going to go flying or it's going to crash into the earth or whatever. And what's funny is that they talked about how they wanted the controls like at this stage to be difficult, because if you are messing up with this like model rocket, what's going to happen when you get behind the actual controls of the ship? And I will say that like after a while, it becomes second nature how to fly this thing. But it does take time, and I think that's like a cool thing for us to like, you know, as players, that like, even a sense of knowledge that's not like registered in the game, but like we functionally get better at operating these like tools, machines, and stuff.
Yeah. When you look at how you first operated the ship, you're just like, oh, landing gear, hardly know her. But then as you progress throughout the game, you're just like, oh, yeah, I can fly through Beggar's Canyon on a T-19. Absolutely. In record time.
I'm so proud of you for remembering that.
So, again, for those of you who have played the game, play it again and just take a look at some of the other astronaut ships that they had to fly through. Especially, you know who. How did he get there with that? It's nuts. Sorry, how did get there with it? So, with the ship, in my opinion, comes one of the biggest tools that I'm going to recommend you use for the game, and that is the rumor mode. So, new players, if you look up Outer Wilds and you see something that kind of looks like this image, I need you to close your eyes as fast as you can and Control W, turn your phone off, go to a trusted parent, because this, we made sure that it was completely like blurred out, and you can like, those who know, but you just see like green and stuff. This is basically the notepad for the game. So my experience with Outer Wilds that I'll take a deeper dive into later, I took a good like 6 to 7 month break. I did not mean to do that. I'm so sorry. I took a long break between playing the game, and this rumor mode really helped kind of bring me back into the game, because it will tell you what you learned about the game without expressly telling you. So it'll say, hey, you've got a corner piece right here. I don't know what to do about it, but you found it. So it does a really good job of saying, you went here and saw this. Here is the context for what you saw, but you need to figure out how it all fits together. How it works is kind of a web of things. One thing influences another. So for new players, if you are ever like, man, I've been playing for 20 hours and I have no idea what I'm doing, this is going to be your best source of information. And even if you're sitting there like, no, it ain't, yes, it will.
What's really interesting, too, is how these planets can feel small at times. You can literally walk around them in a 22-minute span. And what's interesting, though, is that despite how small it is, there is a lot of things that you can miss. The rumor mode literally will have an indicator saying there's more stuff here. And what's fun about that is that even if you think that you've thoroughly like tracked out the planet, that like the idea that the game can keep track of that and kind of let you know that there is something else that could guide you to your next location or keep you at that same location. Who knows? Like that's kind of like a neat thing about this mechanic, that even though like it feels almost like it's like solving the puzzle for you, it's really not, because like it's just giving you the gentle nudge where you want to be next. Or maybe not. Maybe you just want to ignore the little button that says, hey, go here, and you just go to the next planet. Who knows, you know?
Yep. You can completely ignore this.
Yes.
Like, there are some purists that will be like, don't even touch that mode. But if you are genuinely stuck and you're still trying to figure things out, no shame. Absolutely no shame. It's there for a reason. The developers made sure to make this a really helpful tool for new and even experienced players as well.
Oh, the music.
So one thing I want to talk about with the music is the opening theme on the title screen actually has the composer playing against himself 8 years apart. So the Outer Wilds started as a student project. So the composition for the title sequence started with, the original banjo. Then when it started to get into like, oh, we're actually making a game, the composer used the same audio track and added on to it, helping to kind of keep that time loop aesthetic.
It's important to know that this game has been also like continuously in production and updated again and again and again and again. Again, when you watch the documentary, and I do highly recommend you do after you be in the game, that like they show like the initial base model that was like back in like 2012 or something.
Oh, so old.
Yeah, it was like super. It started off as like a college project, right?
Yeah.
So like that's the thing. It started off as like homework, and now it's like one of the most like influential games for me. Now, what's really interesting about the music is that, like, for the most part, we play games that we recognize music. You guys probably can go see the community orchestra and, like, hear some music that you guys are familiar with. And sometimes we register it, sometimes we don't, And Outer Wilds is pretty similar. There's obviously some ambiance. There's music that kind of plays into it. Sound cues and sound effects for, like, when you get to certain points, certain things happen. But what's very interesting is that I can only say that much about the music because, and again, the music is a spoiler. Both like the way that it's like constructed, the way that it's titled, like all these things spoil aspects of this game that like it makes it really hard. But it's also one of those things where like you guys will listen to this soundtrack once you're done playing this game and just cry constantly.
Again, there was a moment with the 22-minute time loop music. I use that as my going to sleep alarm. It's getting late. Maybe I should start wrapping up.
Sun's getting low.
I was driving home from Boston in the car with my mom and fiance, and that song went off, and I went, "Oh my God, I gotta go!" It'll do that to you. So the music and the experience of Outer Wilds really sticks with you.
Oh, do we want to talk about the record real quick?
Yeah. So there is a Outer Wilds record that exists, and it is 2 records. You buy it, it's a 2-piece combo, whatever. Eventually, when you listen to the record, there is a intersection of the record that the needle doesn't go to. And you're like, oh, this thing's broken. What's going on with it? I won't give the details on what the music is, but if you and 3 other friends grab your record players, grab your Outer Wilds vinyls, and play them all simultaneously at the same time, you will get a beautiful secret that the actual record company was just like, you figured out our little secret.
Someone messaged them and said, hey, I think my record is broken. And they said, no.
That's a feature,
That's
not
a
a bug.
feature.
So I will say the vinyl is incredibly difficult to find. So if you do find it, you've beaten the game, and you love the music, highly recommend getting it.
I forgot my phone.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about our Outer Wilds experience. So this is kind of our love for the game and explaining why we love it so much, but also how we came to this point with this game. So my experience with Outer Wilds is I've heard it through the grapevine, and I just heard everybody saying, you have got to play this game, Outer Wilds. You'll never be able to play it the first time again. And I went, whatever, this feels like artsy-fartsy stuff. And then I started to play it. I got frustrated because the puzzle boxed too hard. The round square goes in the square peg, and the circle square goes in. So I put it down. Like I said, a couple months later, I picked it back up again, and I started to get a little bit further into it. And I messaged this one, and I went, hey, is anyone playing Outer Wilds? Because I think I'm getting kind of close to it. And she goes, stop what you're doing and tell me where you're at. And I go, oh, I'm right here. And she goes, message me when this happens. 2 a.m. What do you mean that's what happens? And ever since then, we had a discussion about it and kind of talking about the deeper themes of Outer Wilds. And it it was such an influential moment for me, both in our friendship and just in my gaming history. Because I'm a boy gamer. I like shooters. I like my Pokemons. I'm not really challenged like Outer Wilds challenged me. And that's my experience.
So I'm a girl gamer, and I also play shooters. And which is kind of the biggest thing is that Outer Wilds is not a game that I would have picked up initially. I play Halo, I play Gears of War, I play Silksong. And Outer Wilds was such a different thing for me. I got introduced to it through a streamer, actually. I normally go to this guy for politics. He instead was playing video games that day, so I decided to sit down and watch it. And it convinced me watching the stream to like get the game, and I stopped watching his streams in order to like play the game myself. And even when like the DLC came out, and there is a DLC that is highly worth it. I do recommend it. Even for the price point, and you think, what are they going to add that's going to be like this many hours? It is that many hours.
I'm still playing it.
Yeah, it's insane.
People consider the DLC better than the base game.
I agree with that statement. And it's one of those things of like, I got convinced just by like hearing the like philosophy of it, seeing the art of it, the play style of it. And I think that kind of shows just like how powerful this game is in the sense that like it will take you or take people that don't normally play this kind of stuff and really like bring you through a ride, you know? So have fun with that.
Yep. So you've heard our experiences. Now, hear our sales pitch, guys. So first off, I just want to say, Outer Wilds is currently 40% off until January 19th. So it is $15 US until the 19th of January. The DLC combo is $22.78 on Steam.
So worth it.
I don't know if it's on sale on other platforms. Please take a look, hit buy, put in your credit card information, download it, play it, tell us how you liked it. But it is truly a game like no other. Once you beat the game, go to the Reddit, and you will see a lot of the comments that happen throughout that Reddit are, what other games are like Outer Wilds? And everyone goes, get brain damage and play it again. There really truly is nothing like this. There are games that have the same kind of vibes as Outer Wilds, but nothing scratches that same itch, which is why you should play the DLC, because it uses the other hand to scratch the itch and then leaves you heartbroken.
For me, I think the biggest pitch I can talk about is the fact that this game has developed a community that like reinforces the idea of not telling people about this game. But I mean that in the sense that like there's such a like unspoken acknowledgement that when we talk about this game, all we will say is please play it. It will be worth it. It will be like impactful for you. That's about all we can say. And I think that that's insane that a game could be like a game like, you know, again, our pitch could be that vague, but it has to be. And I promise you, it will be such a fulfilling experience for you.
And it's one of those where a lot of times you will watch streamers play a game and you go, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. I want to play it. You can't do this with Outer Wilds because they may explore something that you're spoiling yourself on and you're learning these secrets without actually going through them. So again, this is as much we want to open your eyes to Outer Wilds. We literally met every Sunday in December to make sure that this panel had as few spoilers as possible for new players. So
We also tried to beat the game in 20 minutes and neither one could do it.
Autopilot's a
Is it what? Yeah, that's what I thought.
is a anyway. So as best as you can, we hope that this pitch was enough to convince new players to get the game. Again, there is no other experience like this. You saw how many hands went up for people who would love to play this for the first time again. If you are deciding to play the game for the first time again, please tell people. We will look at you and go, tell us everything. I don't care the hour. I will care for this with you. It's to the point that I'm going through the DLC and I'm like live tweeting her with what's going on. And there was, I think at one point at like 11 o'clock at night, I was just like, you're telling me this happens? And you're just like, keep going. I was like, what do you mean keep going? So, yeah.
Again, it's so hard to talk about
so
it.
good. Just play it.
Just please.
If not for the story, the ship controls real nice. So, anything else before we wrap up?
I think we can move on to the next panel or
Cool.
the next
All right.
thing.
So that's kind of all we have. We're happy to do a Q&A up front here on account of, spoilers. We aren't sure what people are going to ask and what stories they're going to tell. So if you come up to the front of the stage, this is like your bona fide spoiler warning. We are gonna do our best to not give information away. But if you come up here and go, so that marshmallow, I can't believe I ate it in the wrong order. We go, no, shush. So the Q&A will be as spoiler-free as possible, but expect someone to slip up because, spoilers. But otherwise, that is the end of our panel. Again, I have mini marshmallows up here. Please come up and help yourself. And a special treat to those who come up for Q&A. But otherwise, my name's Taffy.
I'm Mars.
And this has been Outer Wilds without talking about a lot of it. Since we have 9 minutes, I also found a bunch of memes on the subreddit, and we have some time.
It should have been me.
New players, you think we're joking? We want this. For those Severance fans out there. And then I believe this is the last one. This is the last one. Yep. So, all right. Thank you guys very much. Have a good MAGFest.
Happy
Please
MAGFest.
rate us 5 stars on Guidebook. That gets us back to these panels. I am also hosting another panel on Saturday called What Even Is a Mega Man? That is an hour-and-a-half long panel where I talk about Mega Man and Mega Man X, primarily for newbies who are looking into it, and kind of the same idea with this, where we just go, hey, if you're new, awesome. If you're not, awesome. So again, marshmallows up front here, Q&A up front. We do have to clear the room at like 10:55, so we may continue it out in the hallway. So thank you.
Thank you very much.